7 principles are portals to your birthright of genius. But is there also some supreme, ultimate secret of thinking like Leonardo da Vinci? Yes. It is to tap directly into the same infinite source of genius that he did. But how? It's easier than it may seem. Try this with me. With the index finger of your right hand, point to an object nearby. I'm pointing to the window. What are you pointing to? Does it have a shape? A color? Does it have dimensions? Boundaries? Use your finger to outline the form of the object. Now, please point to your right foot. Notice that your foot has a shape, color, and dimension. It also has boundaries, yes? Use your finger to outline the boundaries of your foot. Next, look at your right knee. Shape, color, dimension, boundaries. Okay, now please point at the place from which you have been observing your knee, foot, and the object in the room. As you point towards the source of your awareness, consider if the source of your awareness has a shape, a color, dimensionality. Does it have boundaries? A left and a right? My experience is that what I am pointing at now has no shape, no color, no boundaries. In English, we don't really have words to describe this spacious, limitless source of knowing. But geniuses from every tradition attribute their insights and breakthroughs to a connection with this source. For example, George Washington Carver was a Da Vinci-like American scientist, painter, and humanitarian. Thomas Edison traveled down to Alabama to offer Carver 6 figures to come to work in his business, but Carver turned him down because he was so devoted to his purpose, which was to uplift the poor sharecroppers in the South. Carver refers to this source of genius. I love to think of nature as having unlimited broadcasting stations through which God speaks to us every day, every hour, and every moment of our lives if we will only tune in. This course is designed to help you get better reception so that you can juggle all of life's challenges skillfully. I first learned how to juggle many years ago. I saw someone doing it and it looked to me like moving sculpture. I went up to this great juggler and I asked him to teach me, but it turns out that he was not as good a teacher as he was a juggler. All he told me was, take these 3 balls, throw them up, and don't let any of them drop. Well, I tried as best as I could to follow his instructions, but of course I failed over and over again. But then I started to think like Leonardo da Vinci. Curiosità. I took a more playful, childlike approach, and I began to ask lots of questions, which changed everything. What if I focused on the throw rather than worrying about the catch? What if I focused on my balance and breathing instead of grasping after the balls? Since I couldn't count on the teacher, I tapped into dimostrazione. I had to figure it out for myself, learn from my own experience and my mistakes. Instead of worrying about dropping the balls, I realized I could learn faster if I dropped them on purpose. Sensazione came to life as I focused more on the rhythm, color, and feeling of the juggling pattern and the balls in my hands. Sfumato. Learning anything new means embracing the unknown and smiling like Mona in the midst of change and uncertainty. Arte, scienza, and corporalità both helped immensely. Balance of left and right, body and mind, was the essence of the task at hand. The flow of the balls brought forth a sense of calm and peace, and I felt a connessione with the rhythm of the universe. Then I realized what the juggling pattern is. Do you see it? Yes. It's the infinity pattern. It represents our infinite potential to learn, create, and think like Leonardo da Vinci. For our final exploration, we're going to connect to Leonardo even more deeply in a simple and surprising way. When I was researching the book that is the basis for this course, I read Leonardo's notebooks and contemplated his works with reverent receptivity. And wherever possible, I literally walked in his footsteps and sought to look at the world from his point of view. I went to the place where he was born, in Anciano, just up the road from Vinci, and I went to the place in France where he died. One particularly vivid memory is from the time I visited his residence at the Clos de Luz in the Loire Valley and looked out at the world through his bedroom window. My deep desire was to experience what it would feel like to have a direct dialogue with Leonardo. I let my imagination go free and we engaged in conversation. I learned later that this was not a new strategy for understanding genius. Leonardo's contemporary and friend, Niccolò Machiavelli, helped arrange for the maestro to get the commission to paint the Battle of Anghiari in the Florentine town hall. Scholars debate the extent of Leonardo's influence on Machiavelli, but most agree that his classic, The Prince, set the stage for the modern discipline of political science, and that Machiavelli was a genius in his own right. What method did Machiavelli recommend to cultivate one's genius powers? Imaginary dialogue. He noted, "I study the actions of illustrious minds to see how they have comported themselves." Machiavelli recommends that we engage in imaginary dialogues with the geniuses we admire, and he offers details about his technique. I take off my dusty, muddy workday clothes and don royal, elegant garments. Worthily dressed, I enter into the ancient courts of the greats of antiquity, where, warmly received, I feed on the nourishment of the mind. I'm not ashamed to speak with them and ask them for the reasons of their actions, and they, because of their humanity, answer me. Many hours can pass and I feel no weariness. My troubles forgotten, I give myself over entirely to them. And since Dante says that there can be no understanding without remembering, I note down the chief things in our conversation. So let's share in the wonder of engaging in an imaginary dialogue with Leonardo. You don't have to change your clothes, but you can imagine yourself in your best Renaissance outfit. Sit in a balanced, poised position. Invoke your Mona Lisa smile and exhale. Close your eyes, just let go and relax. As you relax, imagine that you are strolling along a beautiful path through a field of lavender and roses on your way to visit Leonardo in his studio. Enjoy the exquisite quality of the Tuscan light, the delicate melody of the birds, and the gentle caress of the breeze on your smiling face. As you approach the door of the maestro's studio, describe the beautiful scene silently to yourself, speaking in the present tense as though you are there in this moment. Now, imagine that the door swings open and Leonardo da Vinci is there to welcome you. He is in the prime of his powers. He's genuinely delighted to see you. He invites you in and tells you to make yourself comfortable. His warm, welcoming presence and radiant golden aura effortlessly inspires you to feel a sense of your own potential for genius. Describe your impressions of the maestro. Now, ask him whatever questions may be on your mind, and then just be receptive for his answers. In a moment, I'll ask you to pause the video and write. Sit with Leonardo and describe the scene. Write the questions you'd like to ask him. If Leonardo answers you, write it down. Or just enjoy his presence and do stream of consciousness writing. Okay, pause now. Before you complete your imaginary dialogue, be sure to say, "Grazie mille, maestro." Imagine him projecting thanks back to you for having the curiosità to want to engage with him. Before you leave, Leonardo may have something to say to you. Listen closely. Again, offer thanks. Don't be surprised if his response isn't immediately apparent. It may come to you on your next walk in nature, in the shower, or when you wake up in the middle of the night. Our mirror neurons reflect and amplify the qualities of the people we are with, which is why it's a wonderful idea to spend time with people who inspire you and bring out your best. This works in person, virtually, and via the imagination. When you appreciate their works, read about them, and converse with them, you awaken your own genius powers. As genius poet and spiritual teacher Khalil Gibran reflects, beauty is eternity gazing at itself in the mirror. But you are eternity and you are the mirror. One of my clients, the CEO of an engineering firm, was recently challenged to lead his organization through a series of grave difficulties. He needed to maintain his own courage in the face of uncertainty in order to inspire his team to meet the challenge. He found that imaginary dialogues with Winston Churchill gave him just what he needed to rise to the challenge. Dr. Win Wenger has documented the use of this imaginary dialogue process in accelerating improvements in athletic and musical performance and other disciplines. You can also use it to help answer a specific question, gain insight into a particular problem, or even prepare for a presentation. In his book on Leonardo da Vinci, published in 1916, Sigmund Freud stated, "Leonardo was like a man who awoke too early in the darkness while the others were all still asleep." Leonardo was way ahead of his time, and now he invites you to wake up and experience the illumination of your genius powers. Plato's allegory of the cave was probably the inspiration behind this excerpt from Leonardo's notebooks. Drawn by my eager wish, desirous of seeing various strange forms created by ingenious nature, I wandered for some time among the shadowed cliffs and came to the entrance of a great cavern. I remained before it for a while, stupefied and ignorant of the existence of such a thing. With my back bent and my left hand resting on my knee and shading my eyes with right, with lids lowered and closed, and often bending this way and that to see whether I could discern anything within. But this was denied me by the great darkness inside, and after I stayed a while, there arose in me two things: fear and desire. Fear because of the menacing dark cave, and desire to see whether there were any miraculous thing within. And there it is, so elegantly distilled, the life-changing choice between fear of darkness, of the unknown, and the desire for the light of the miraculous. The choice we all face every day. Do we move towards the light or succumb to our fears? Leonardo's legacy is the inspiration for wisdom and light to triumph over fear and darkness. The art critic Bernard Berenson said that everything Leonardo touched turned to eternal beauty. My wish is that you will take our 7 principles and bring a touch of that beauty to your life every day. I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Welcome to our Genius community. We are here to inspire you and to be inspired by you. Please write, post on our social media pages, and join us in the many wonderful events we're planning. The course seems to be ending, but the real journey has just begun. Avanti! And grazie mille!